here at Blooming Acres, and things are waking up. A lot of winter cleanup, but also a time to think about new designs and other ways of making your home and mine more beautiful. I'm leaning on a very, very old antique wrought iron gate. I love this old look and the beautiful artistry that goes into these kinds of pieces, but it's not a lost art yet. And I want to show you, we have a special guest joining us today that's going to tell us about how we've combined the ancient art form with a little bit of modern technology. Also, we're going to talk to a very good friend of mine who runs a business out of her home, do a little bit of gardening, and visit a farm. So we've got lots to do here at Home with Peggy. For years now, here at Blooming Acres, I have been fascinated by the Gothic, the unusual, the antique, the old-fashioned. We have gargoyles instead of downspouts, and I have been collecting pieces of wrought iron to make a fence around the vegetable garden. Slowly, I've been collecting them, and then one day, while driving along Route 206, I came to a grinding halt as I saw one magnificent wrought iron trellis after another lined up along the road. Of course, I had to pull in, and there I had the pleasure of meeting Todd Jordan, who makes these magnificent pieces that take functional fences, posts, gates, and rails and turns them into individual works of art. And he was kind enough to bring all this stuff to Blooming Acres today and to join us here at Home with Peggy. Todd, come on over. Obviously, this is a mailbox.
Yes.
It doesn't look anything like my mailbox, but you made this, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it's a family business, is that?
It's a family-owned business. My father started maybe 25 years ago, and I've taken over about 12 years ago.
And you do this all by hand?
All by hand.
And is that the way it's done most of the time?
Yes, it is. There are component parts available, but for the most part, everything's done one piece at a time.
And do you do them, sort of, you have a design? Do you do them as you work? Do you build them? Tell me, how do you get from a piece of ugly old metal into something as wonderful as this?
It usually starts with a picture from the customer, an idea from the customer. If they don't have anything set in mind, I have books to go through, different ideas. I have brochures that I've come out with, samples.
So books, do you go back and copy some of the ancient, very old works? Where would you find most of these?
In older cities. In the United States, not as much as you would England, France, some of your European countries.
So the art form as well as the functional trade was actually developed in Europe?
Oh yeah, and it was brought over here when the immigrants moved over.
The one right behind you here, this is actually a gate,
This is a gate.
Is this your own design, or is it a copy, or sort of a combination?
It's a combination. The heart pattern in here is very common. Back in the day, the early 1900s, late 1800s, when wrought iron became popular in the United States, this was a common design. Now what I've done are add a few component parts, which are called collars. Some of our finials here are a little different than what was made back then, but this is one that an original design was chosen, and we just added to it.
Okay, let's wander down here and show me some of these. This would be a section of fence, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So you would use this outside on a porch?
We can actually incorporate this as a fence or a railing. Can be used outside, inside. It doesn't matter. And this style here is more English than it is French.
Really?
Yes.
So you can trace back the different designs to the country of origin.
Sure.
Now, you showed me one picture of a magnificent curved one that was actually used around a window.
Yes.
So you actually bend them this way?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem possible that you could bend this stuff.
It is. Modern technology makes it easier for fabricators like myself to actually roll pieces the hard way. Flat bars on edge, top moldings, which you would find on a railing, to roll them on edge, along with many other types of materials.
So this is something you could use outside. What would be the maintenance on something like this?
Depends on what kind of finish the customer chooses. If they want to go with a basic paint, such as a Rust-Oleum type paint, as far as maintenance goes, they might be out there once a year, once every other year, just touching it up. If the customer chose a powder coating, which is a more durable...
Can you do that yourself, the powder coating? You send that out to someone?
Yes, we send that out. It's all professionally done. It's a whole new entity all to itself.
So this is not part of history. This is where modern science comes in and improves on the art form.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great.
Exactly.
Low maintenance. I'm into low maintenance. That's a good thing.
Yeah, powder coating is definitely the way to go. There is an expense whether it's done in-house or out-of-house, but it is well worth it.
That really does cut down on the maintenance. Yeah. And you can go with colors then too, right? If you do powder coating?
Just about every color is available.
Purple? Can you do purple?
We can do all kinds of purples.
Oh, purple's my favorite. Okay. Now, these are smaller samples, and where you actually bend and twist these things?
What these are component parts that are available through modern technology. We as the fabricators have a choice to either purchase a complete unit like this, or if the customer wants us to hand make everything.
Well, I'm sure that gets very expensive.
It does.
But if someone had a particular design or fell in love with something that they saw in Europe and took a picture of it, you could copy it?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, that's so exciting, really. It's a combination of bringing the old world to the new world and then incorporating modern science as we move forward is sort of the best of all possible worlds.
That's
now, you're going to do a little demonstration for us, right?
Yes.
I would love to see that. And your truck, which I'm sure these we can show on camera, is a rolling advertisement. It's absolutely fascinating, and I assume that you built that yourself.
Yes.
And it's just I would love to drive around town in that truck. It would be, you know, it would be a lot of fun. Now, Todd, this thing looks like a work of art in and of itself. Certainly something you might see in a sculpture garden, but this is actually a tool, right?
Yes, it is.
Could you show me how it works? Because
Sure.
it's really fascinating. I love all these little holes of different sizes.
They all serve different purposes, but the main use for this machine is for bending of any kind of sort. I have the scroll attachment in it right now, and I'll show you how scrolls are rolled.
Now this is more of a modern piece of equipment, right? This
Exactly.
isn't something that was around, what, 500 years ago?
No,
Okay.
no, the way they did or made scrolls back then was a lot
Did
different.
they have to heat it all up and bend it with a
yeah.
hammer? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you don't have to do that.
Just roll it around.
And it's actually turning as you're doing this.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
We get it to a certain point. We have an adjustable pin here. By moving it to the back, we can make the scroll as large as we want.
Is that hard to do?
No, not at all.
Okay, can I finish it?
Absolutely.
You think I can do it?
I know you can do it.
Okay.
Let's take this guy out, and we'll put him right here.
So we'll do the other end?
Sure.
Okay,
We'll do the other end.
This looks like a great toy.
It
I love
is.
this.
It is. It's very, very functional.
You think I can do this?
I know you can.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
just grab it here.
which way do I turn it?
You're going to turn it towards me.
Okay. Oh, I can do it!
Yes, you can. Oops.
Okay. I got it. Is that enough, or do I do more?
That's enough. Well, you can do more.
Oh, let me do a little more.
Okay.
Oh. Oh. Okay, I got it. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay.
Perfect. And when you're done,
Oh,
have a
wow.
scroll.
That's gorgeous. Hey, and I even did part of it. Now, how many of something like this would you need to do to make one of those big, beautiful double-door gates?
Sometimes hundreds.
So you can do small individual pieces like we showed, and up to how big of a gate could you do, or a trellis could you do?
20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet, whatever the customer.
Oh, wow. That's really amazing. And
Yeah.
what would a 30-foot ornate gate cost?
Your
Ballpark
50,000,
Oh, wow.
60,000,
But smaller pieces like the mailbox, well, how much would?
200, 250.
Okay, so the smaller, an individual ornate piece as a focal point in your yard, maybe a gate or a mailbox or maybe a light fixture kind of thing, you could do all those, and those are affordable.
They're affordable, yes.
And also would be more in scale with most people's houses.
Correct.
Okay, so that it is within reach of your everyday person, and those people who are fortunate enough to have a house big enough for a 40-foot gate could probably afford it anyway.
Yes.
Okay, but it's nice to know that these are out there available, that it's not a lost art.
Right.
And if anyone wanted to contact you, if they wanted something or wanted to come and see some of your stuff, where would they go?
They can find me on the internet. I do have a website at www.jordanwelding.com, or they can stop in or phone call.
And where are you located?
On Route 206 in Vincenttown, approximately 1/4 mile south of the Red Lion Circle.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. This was really wonderful. I could see myself developing a new hobby. This is a lot of fun. And good luck.
Thank you very much.
Spring always is a lot of work in the garden. All of that cleanup after the long gray winter. Even though this winter was pretty mild, still, even so, there's a lot of work to get ready for spring. One of the things that is very important to do in the spring, as the new growth is still very young, is to divide your perennials. Now, the best perennials to divide in the spring are those perennials that bloom in the fall. That way you don't disturb their blooming cycle. Probably the most common one of those would be your chrysanthemums. Everybody has chrysanthemums, and in this winter, most of them survived, and you'll have big patches of little tiny green leaves just coming up. Now's the time to divide them. Right here what we have is a perennial sunflower. You can see that this has gotten rather large, and I've already pruned back this woody part, which actually reached about 12 feet in height when it was in full bloom last October. That's been cut back, and you can see the large number of little tiny green shoots that are coming up. It's a good idea if you want to give these to a friend, just divide them to make more room in the garden, or transplant them for another part of the garden where they can also be beautiful in October, is to divide them at this point in time. This is a large patch, but you can see it's beginning to creep into this little bit of a path here that I have to walk down to get the mail. So I'm going to take out some of this right here and give me a little bit more room. It's really not that complicated, especially since the plants are just coming up and still quite young for this year. So you can see that part will be intact. It doesn't spread out as far into the path. And we're just going to dig out a clump right here. One of the nice things about perennials, although they don't have to be planted from scratch every year, is half shovel can transplant. Works pretty well. But anything that blooms in the spring, you don't want to transplant now because it's getting ready to make flowers. And certainly, since that's the whole purpose, you don't want to disturb that cycle. For example, the peonies are already up and nice and green. Those are about to bloom. Best time to transplant them or divide them is September. This perennial sunflower, which is Helianthus maximilii, has a pretty extensive root system. So it does take a little bit of effort to move it. You can see here that I've gotten a nice sized clump. And look at these roots. We'll just take this piece right off here. See? It has a thick root system. It spreads from the roots. Right down here it gets woody and hard, and this is like a major root right here. So it does take some effort to dig them out. However, they do transplant very easily. If I wanted to, I could take this clump and divide it into 4, maybe even 6 different small plants. They could be potted up in pots where they would do well for a little while, but because they get so large, you don't want to keep them in a pot indefinitely. Or you can just put this in a new spot in the garden or give it to a friend. But you do want to do the dividing of fall blooming perennials right about now. My very good friend, Lori Berman, who works under the name of Lauren E. Simeone, is a graphic artist and a very successful one, and her work is magnificent. She, too, juggles being a mom and running a business out of her home. Our businesses differ, so we run into different challenges. But her work is so beautiful, we would like to share some of that with you today. Lori, thanks for having us in your home, and I'm sitting here looking at some of this artwork that you've done. Explain to me, it's not exactly what one would think of as traditional fine art, so explain.
No, it surely isn't. Probably the biggest difference between commercial art and fine art is that commercial art is used commercially, usually to sell a product. In this case, we were selling cookies, and in this case, candy.
and it's making me hungry just to look at it because it's really very well done. And so you work with, obviously you have M&M Mars over there and the Sunshine Biscuit Company over here, and yet you are a work alone at home, a one-horse town, so to speak, and,
Yep.
and manage to work with these huge companies. How does that happen?
Well, partly because there is regional work, and these businesses farm a lot of, they do tons of work, so they farm a lot of it out to studios or small agencies in the area or big agencies. I work with a big range of types of companies. I don't always just do this kind of commercial work. I do collateral work for corporations, so sometimes I work directly with a corporation. I also do publishing work. I do some children's books, school books mainly, and other sorts of things like that. But the manufacturers in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, they give a lot of work out to smaller studios, and these both were gotten through a small agency.
So how do you juggle, in your world, being a mom and also running the house with your business? How do you squeeze it all in?
Well, that's a good question. You have to be fairly well organized, but one of the things I like about it is that there's a lot of flexibility. So if there's something I really want to do during the day, I don't have to do this during the day. I can come back and do this at 9 o'clock at night, and I often do.
I know recently you've upgraded your own professional skills by including all kinds of computer components and skills that you didn't have before. So you stay on the cutting edge of the industry even though you work at home.
Yeah.
But you still do some things the old-fashioned way. So will you show us a couple of your techniques?
Sure. Well, I just got a new job in, which I can demonstrate how I will begin that. It's going to be a logo for a company, and these people would like a Viking ship. So basically, I'm going to start with a sketch. I usually do a pretty rough sketch to start with, just blocking in the basic shape and changing it as I go along. I'm going to use this for reference. And so I'm going to put a dragon head up front here because a couple of pictures in there were decorated. I'm going to do that. And again, I'm just going to fill in the shape. I don't want to deviate from it too much because they're trying to fill a space here. And looks like they've put a little thought into the layout so far. So even though they do want the realistic style, I want to follow their layout. And I'm going to do it rough because I'll show that to the client then in kind of a rough form before I've spent a lot of time on it, and just make sure that I'm going in the direction that they want. Okay, so I've got a rough sketch blocked out here. I may refine it a little more before showing it to the client, but I think I'd like them to see it like this just to make sure the basic shape is realistic enough for them. They may think it's still a little too stylized, so I don't want to go too much further without checking that out.
So, Lori, what happens then, you'll probably fax it to the client?
Yes. I also can scan it and send it like a JPEG via email. Sometimes that's a little better, but usually I use the fax machine. It's fast.
So computers and fax machines help you run your business out of your home in a way that before this technology existed you might not have been able to do.
I certainly couldn't do it from here. I used to do it without a fax machine when I lived in Philadelphia, and all my clients were within a couple of miles from my studio. But now they're many miles away, and it's the only way to do it.
Well, Lori, it looks like this picture on your computer looks exactly like the sketch in your hand. How did that happen?
Well, that happened because I have a scanner here, and I scanned this sketch and placed it into an Adobe Illustrator document on a layer, which I can then dim and make it so that it kind of fades out a little bit. And then I can use that for tracing, just the way when I was working over there. So once it's in place, the next thing I do, this is sort of the same process, but it's digital lines instead of ink lines, and the advantages are that it's easy to correct. This is very cool. It makes a thick and thin line. Now, I've gotten used to this. It was a little hard at first. You can see I have to look up at the screen and my hand is over here. A little bit of a disconnect, but it's all editable. So if I put a line in there that I don't like, I can change it. And there's even a way that I can go back and change the width of the line if I think I want it a little fatter on this end than the other end. Now, I happen to really like this kind of brush line look. It looks like it's done in ink with a paintbrush. And you can make that thick and thin, and I like the way that looks. When I've completed the line work in Illustrator, if I want to add color, this is the way I do it. There are different ways to do it, but I prefer to I copy the lines from Illustrator. Close up there. And I go into Photoshop. Oops, there she is. Well,
So we saw that some of your original work was for vanilla wafers and the candy bars, but I see you have all kinds of beautiful things on display. Could you talk a little bit about some of the finished work up on your display shelf?
Sure. You're familiar with this one. A license plate. This was done digitally, just the same technique that you just saw me do there. All the line work was done in Illustrator and then the color put in. The beer bottles were done traditionally, and they were done in an Art Nouveau style. The client was looking to kind of capture the feel of posters. You've seen those Art Nouveau beer posters, and they liked that, so I did a series for them. These are 4 of them. This is fun. This was for a toy company. And these are stacking blocks. Now, one of the things they do, they've got numbers, and it's actually Jewish educational toys, so the letters on them are Hebrew letters. But the part I like best is this. When you stack them up, you get a little picture. Yeah, it's kind of silly, but I think kids would have fun with that.
Well, Laura, your work is absolutely beautiful. That you juggle it with running a home and being a mom is certainly challenging. I appreciate the amount of effort that goes into that, but it's just beautiful, and I'm so amazed because obviously your talents are very diverse. You do labels, you do license plates, you do toys. I'm overwhelmed. Thanks for bringing us into your home when we could be at home with Lori this time.
My pleasure.
In the middle of the asparagus field, and this is Neil Robeson, and it's his farm and it's his asparagus, and look at it, it's everywhere, it's growing, it's popping up. How many acres do you have here?
There's about 5 acres of asparagus in this block.
And when do you harvest it? It looks like we could, go right down there.
We can. It's ready to be harvested at any time. Since the last couple of days, we've cooled down. We're giving a little more time to get the spear length up to about 10 inches.
And that's when you harvest it, about 10 inches?
Yes, approximately 10 inches.
And when is the asparagus season, Neil?
Well, we started harvesting on the 15th of April, and we'll run through the 20th of June.
Can you harvest one for me?
Sure can. We actually clip the spears rather than break them or cut them below the ground surface, just with a regular pruning type shear. That's the way my men harvest it as well.
Okay, so we have some. This is like perfect. This looks perfect to me, but there are some that are fatter and some that are skinnier. What's the story here?
Yes, there are, and what we do, that is would be a very nice size. This size here is very acceptable to consumers. A lot of times I'll tell my men to just harvest these and throw those down, although we would have some people that would be interested in that.
Isn't it true that consumers tend to really prefer the thin ones over the fatter ones?
For some reason nowadays they do, but years ago it was the thicker, what we call the colossal spears, that were the most popular and preferred.
Now these that are here are a variety that was developed at Rutgers University, right?
Yes, that's correct. This is the Jersey Knight variety.
And weren't they actually bred to be fat?
Yes, they were.
Well, I don't understand why consumers like the skinny ones better. I think the fat ones are better. And I think the big problem is that if you cook them all together, maybe people don't cook them long enough for the fat ones to get tender.
I believe that is the case.
So when I have a mixed batch, because I harvest mine from my own garden, and you do get a mixed batch when you harvest them yourself, I just throw the fat ones in first and wait a minute and then throw the other ones and they all come out the same.
That's great. That would work.
Now, another thing that you've been famous for is strawberries. So
Yes.
will you take me to the strawberry patch,
Yep.
please? Okay, we'll
Will
go
do.
right there now.
Okay.
Strawberries, Neil, are one of those things that are like gifts from the gods. When they're ripe and juicy and red, there's nothing more delicious. I'm sitting here in a field that must have been created in heaven. There's strawberries in all directions. How many strawberries are here?
There's about 12 acres in this area of strawberries.
And when will they be ready to eat?
We hope to start picking sometime around the 25th of May.
There's none in here.
No, there's none in here yet. They're just in the blooming stages. We have them in about 3 stages of bloom.
This one's beautiful.
Yeah, that one is prime. There's several like that in here. There's some that had come along a little
But how come?
more advanced, and then where you see the darks.
What happened to this one?
They were that actually got frozen down in the crown about 3 weeks ago, early part of April.
What do you do if the weather gets cold? Is there anything you can do to protect them?
You can apply water through irrigation to cause a light ice coating on the over top of the plants, and that protects them.
That
from
really?
frost.
So you have
Yes.
to come out at 2 o'clock in the morning and turn
Yes.
on the irrigation?
Yeah, the temperatures drop below. Hopefully at this point we're beyond that, but you never know.
Is that the beginning of a strawberry?
Yes, it is.
So the strawberry actually grows from the center of the flower,
Correct.
and all the little seeds are on the outside. Why is that?
Yes.
It doesn't grow like a regular fruit.
No, it doesn't. And that is the nature of the strawberry. That's the type of fruit it is, where the seeds are actually on the outside of the fruit.
And so this little bump right here in the center of the flower, that was the same as this little bump in the center of this flower.
Right, that is your
will
strawberry.
evolve and grow and develop and become something really, really luscious. Now, you grow so many things here, Neil, and your family's been doing it, and you do it, and the farm keeps getting bigger and bigger. When I first became familiar with your farm, it was only 450 acres, and now it's 700 acres, and it's really amazing to stay on the cutting edge. You have to do that in New Jersey, don't you?
Absolutely, yes.
And I also understand that you're a pretty important person, huh? President of the New Jersey Vegetable Growers Association.
That's correct. Yes.
What, you want to tell us about that organization a little bit?
It's an industry organization of the vegetable growers to support the vegetable industry in New Jersey, and it's a very strong organization, and it's basically representatives from each county throughout the state that are directors that we meet periodically to address issues and information about the vegetable industry.
So we have a bright and sunny future. Even though there's rough spots, there's still a very viable agriculture here in New Jersey.
Absolutely, I certainly think so.
Lots of fruits and vegetables.
Lots of them.
And if you want to get them at Robeson Farm Market here, where are we exactly?
We're on Route 537 in North Hanover Township, Burlington County.
And you can find directions and more information on the website, which is located at www.njfb.org/directory. You can go to the New Jersey Farm Bureau website and find information about Neil's farm and a whole bunch of others.
That's correct.
So thanks for joining us, Neil. I want to come back when the strawberries are ready, okay?
By all means.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us at Robeson Farm and Greenhouses, and next time when we're at home with Peggy, it'll be summer and it'll be flowers and tomatoes and peppers, and I can't wait. We'll see you then. Thanks.